So let's get from a basis of what you believe through what you've downloaded, okay? And I believe in downloads. I'm a 100% download person. Have you ever just suddenly have a complete thought and you're like, whoa, what the that like I talk about it all the time in comedy. I download like jokes all the time, meaning a joke will come almost fully formed in my head.
I've seen it happen.
So, thank you. So it does happen. So your belief, and then I want to get into Galactic Federation, all that stuff. People have to be yelling, Sam, shut the fuck up at this point in this episode. But do you believe that they are man-made crafts, or do you believe they're from other galaxies that have come here? I want to get your opinion because I have my own opinion.
Yeah, for sure. So I believe that there's both. I believe that there's probably three main things going on. There are human-made, man-made crafts that are reverse-engineered alien or extraterrestrial technology. I believe that there's also, Project Bluebeam and some holographic stuff going on as well. And then I also believe that there are real extraterrestrial crafts that are coming around planet Earth. So it's really just a mix of all of them.
Interesting. Okay, so let's get into. I'm an open-minded guy. I've talked a lot about my spiritual and religious faith. I don't want to go too much into that. I met a guy over the weekend who was telling me to get this book that breaks down a lot of stuff that was in the Book of Enoch and the stuff that was not put into the Bible. And, a lot of it is, extraterrestrial, all the stuff that I think would make the Bible a lot more like digestible. I mean, like if you're into Star Wars, if you're into Game of Thrones, if you're in, to Harry Potter, why wouldn't you be into this one with all this kind of stuff in it? Do you believe in interdimensional, that other dimensions coming here, a lot of these things? And are you open-minded to the angels versus demons discussion?
Yeah, so there's a lot of people in this field who believe that all extraterrestrials are good, and there's also a lot in the field that believe all extraterrestrials are bad. I truly believe in quantum mechanics because that's the majority of my download. And within quantum mechanics is the understanding that we live in a binary universe, a binary system. And in understanding that we live in a binary system, we have to understand that there's high vibration and low vibration within this universe. Therefore, there are beings that fit into the category of high vibration or benevolent or, vying for unity. And then, of course, there are beings, extraterrestrials, interdimensionals, etheric, physical, angels, all of that, all of the above, who are in a low vibration, and they are malevolent, and they are seeking out, power and control for themselves, right? It's that separation agenda, it's service to self agenda. So I really do believe that there are really two camps within this universe, and simultaneously there are two camps that are interacting with planet Earth at this time.
You saying there's two camps, and the way you talk about you getting abducted, you kind of smiling and kind of talking about it in a good way. I'm guessing you got the good camp when you got abducted.
No,
did you not?
Actually, my original abduction was very fearful, very negative, and it was by the species, the tall whites, that are primarily the ones who are working with the governments of the planet and looking for sort of a technology transfer, right? So they're able to abduct, they've got a contract with the governments, they're able to abduct a certain amount of individuals per year for the technology transfer from them to the governments. So it was not a great experience. I know that I needed to have that experience in order to have a lot of compassion around the majority of human beings who believe their abduction was negative.
Okay. So this starts to get into this thing right now that I'm really trying to pound the drum on, and not getting too far from the subject, but you got these bankers and who they represent. And I think that, the black nobility very much when you see the Nazis with the sun logo, that's the black sun, Saturn worship and all that stuff. And, so you bring up the technology transfer, which brings us to Operation High Jump, which brings us into, Klaus Schwab's dad meeting with, the White House to broker a deal between the aliens and the U.S. government and stuff like that, which really does, to me, mean that, like, I 100% believe that the Nazis were the Bolsheviks of Germany and that they were there to destroy Germany for the international banking cabal, which goes back to the Black Saturn. So when you talk about the technology transfer, do you have any thoughts on like the Nazis and the U.S. government, the missing 411, and any of that stuff?
Well, the majority of my research and understanding about things comes from my remote viewing. So if I haven't remote viewed it, I have zero knowledge of it. So from a very early age, when I started to do this sort of work, I was told by my, I don't know, spirit guides, you could call them, not to do any external research. So I have no idea what else is out there in the field. All I know is what I've channeled. And no, I haven't touched upon any of that. But a huge core to my belief is that, this planet is being run by reptilian shapeshifters, and that they have been in control for far too long. And finally, the shift is happening. That old Earth is crumbling. And they're, as we kind of mentioned at the beginning, the book of Revelations is so much more accurate these days than it ever has been. But I truly believe, just as you mentioned as well, we got to break down to break through, and we have to collapse that old world order in order to emerge into something brand new.
Okay. So you believe that there's shape-shifting reptilians? Does it go, is any of it into Anunnaki creating any of that stuff? Let me hear what your thoughts on that is.
Yeah, for sure. So this was one of the first things I remote viewed is, how did humans evolve? One of my biggest questions was, what is that missing link, right? Why can't we put the pieces together? And so when I took a look back at human history, it was the reptilians who were here, who basically were the most intelligent species at the time of the dinosaurs. So they were the ones sort of ruling the show at that time. Pretty advanced for that time on planet Earth, but they were here for a very long time before humans ever evolved to where they are now. During the time where the reptilians were here and essentially running the show, the Anunnaki came to planet Earth because we had the resource that they were looking for, which was gold. And so the Anunnaki started to mine this gold from the planet, and the reptilians were okay with that for the time being. And then the Anunnaki did not have enough resources to mine. And because of that, they ended up creating a civilization, a species from the resources that were here on planet Earth.
And again, we get too close and everything's do they just know us? Is that what it is, dude?
Bro.
Is it just they know us? Okay, so the Anunnaki come here, they start mining our gold, and the reptilians are like, we're cool with that. And then what happened?
Yeah, and so then the Anunnaki were viewed as the gods of our planet. Of course, a lot of them ended up falling in love with humans, splicing their DNA together, both scientifically and naturally. And then, in a sense, creating these sort of demigods, right?
So are you talking Nephilim here? I mean, are you going
yeah,
in?
it's another word for them.
Okay.
Yeah, or the giants, right?
Do you think that is any thoughts on? I don't know the exact relationship of Anki and all that with fallen angels and stuff like that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I haven't been able to fully figure out the fallen angel aspect of this, but it could very well be the Anunnaki, described as coming from outer space to this planet, and then ruling this planet or potentially turning, corrupt. But I haven't been able
There's a
to
lo-
fully distinguish.
there's a lot of different disciplines of religion that talk about God trapping entities down here into this realm of wherever we are, and them trying to get out. But it's very interesting. So they come down, they mate with the daughters of men, and they create these, what you called like what would you call them, gods, like
Like
demi
demigods.
demigods. Some might call them Nephilim. Okay, so here we are. There we are. Keep going.
Yeah, and so for a long time, the Anunnaki were sort of the rulers of this civilization after they mined the gold and kind of forced humans into that role. They were viewed as the gods, the creator beings. Especially they were massive, right? So they were revered. And then the reptilians, this is long before they shapeshifted into human form. They were walking around as these, 8 to 10 foot tall. I called them alligator beings when I first saw them because I didn't know what to call them. They just look like, or dinosaur beings, alligator beings. And so they were sort of the managers of the humans, and that was the setup for quite some time. And then we basically go into ancient Lemuria, and that is when the angels and the Pleiadian beings start to emerge and come to planet Earth and do sort of the same thing, splice their DNA with human DNA, and in a way almost fight the narrative. And so that's when the Lemurians went into the age of Atlantis, and they became highly advanced with a lot of the extraterrestrial technology, free energy technology, things like levitation, harnessing crystals as power banks, and things like that. So that's sort of where we see that emergence come through. But because human beings are somewhat of this master experiment, we've been considered this prophecy planet for billions of years out there in the universe, long before we were ever conceptualized or conceived, in a sense. We were this prophecy that was spoken about all across the universe because we are this experiment. We are the sons and daughters of some of the highest vibrational and some of the lowest vibrational beings in this universe, which make us highly masterful, highly unique, but also it makes us a massive threat to individuals like the Anunnaki and the reptilians.
Okay.